Hey guys, welcome to our new channel, Football Weekly. I'm Riley.
And I'm Matt.
This is a school project. We'll be uploading weekly football news, goals and saves of the week, and FIFA news. A like and subscribe would be greatly appreciated, and please let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
In this episode, we'll be discussing the league results from the previous week, upcoming Champions League matches, the winter upgrades on FIFA, and much more.
First, I will be discussing the Barclays Premier League results from midweek. Arsenal hosted Leicester in the opening game of the EPL round at the Emirates Stadium. The final score was 2-1 with Lauren Koscielny and Theo Walcott scoring for Arsenal in the first half before Andre Kramnik's second half goal, which was not enough for Leicester to take any points away from this game.
Sunderland then took on QPR at the Stadium of Light. QPR won 2-0 with Leroy Fer and Bobby Zamora scoring the goals in the first half.
Hull City and Aston Villa were the next game at the KC Stadium. The final score was 2-0. Nikita Jelovic and Dame Nadoy scored for Hull City.
Liverpool 10 took on Tottenham in the game of the round at Anfield. Lazar Markovic opened the scoring in the 15th minute before Harry Kane equalised in the 26th. Then Steven Gerrard opened the scoring for the second half, converting a penalty in the 53rd minute, for Moussa Dembele was quick to respond in the 61st. Mario Balotelli then scoring his first goal in the Premier League in the 83rd minute to win the game for Liverpool.
Stoke City and Manchester City were to follow that game at the Britannia Stadium. The final score was 1-4 to Manchester City, with Sergio Aguero scoring 2 goals, including a penalty, and James Milner and Samir Nasri both scoring a goal each. Peter Crouch scored 1 goal for Stoke City, which was not enough to get any points.
Manchester United then took on Burnley at Old Trafford. Chris Smalling coming on as a super sub, scoring in the 6th and the 45th minute. Robin van Persie then converted a penalty in the 82nd, while Danny Ings scored a goal in the first half, but it wasn't enough for Burnley to get any points from that game.
Chelsea and Everton played at Stamford Bridge in what was a close encounter, Williams scoring the only goal of the game in the 89th minute after Gareth Barry was sent off a minute earlier.
Southampton then took on West Ham at St Mary's Stadium. The game ended 0-0 in a boring encounter.
West Brom and Swansea played at the Hawthorns in a 2-0 victory for West Brom. Brown, Idi and Saido Berahino both scored in the second half.
Crystal Palace then took on Newcastle at Selhurst Park. Brazier Campbell scoring for Crystal Palace and Papas Cisse scoring for Newcastle. The game ended 1-1.
In the FA Cup, West Bromwich Albion, Reading, Blackburn Rovers, Liverpool, Aston Villa, Bradford City and Arsenal are through to the next round.
Now on to the Serie A. Sassuolo took on Fiorentina in a 3-1 victory to Fiorentina, with Mohamed Salah and Kuma Babkar scoring the goals for Fiorentina, while Domenico Berardi scoring for Sassuolo.
Palermo then hosted Napoli. The host Palermo came out on top 3-1 with Achaf Lazar, Franco Vazquez and Luca Rigoni scoring, and Manolo Gabbiadini scored for Napoli.
Milan then took on Empoli in San Siro. The game ended 1-1, with Mario Destro scoring for Milan and Massimo Maccone scoring for Empoli.
Udinese then played Lazio at the Stadio Friuli. The game ended 1-0 to Lazio. Antonio Candreva converted a penalty in the 23rd minute.
Atlanta then took on Inter Milan. The game ended 4-1 to Inter Milan. Maxi Morales scoring the only goal for Atlanta, while Zerdan Shaqiri converting a penalty in the 3rd minute. Freddie Guarin scored 2 goals and Rodrigo Palacio finished the scoring for Inter Milan.
Genoa then played Verona. The game ended 5-2 to Genoa. Alessandro Agostini scored an unfortunate own goal before Mbaye Niang kicked a double, and Andre Bertolacchi and Diego Perotti scored for Genoa. Verona's goals both came from Luca Toni.
Torino then took on Calgary at Stadio Olimpico. The game ended in a 1-1 draw, with Omar El Karoudi scoring for Torino and Goffred Donch scoring for Calgary.
Roma and Parma were next at the Stadio Olimpico. The game ended 0-0.
Chievo then took on Sampdoria at Stadio M.A. Bentagodi. The game ended 2-1 to Chievo. Mario Giulio Isco scoring in the 2nd minute, then Riccardo Magoni scoring again in the 39th for Chievo. Then Luis Muriel for Sampdoria scoring in the 90th minute but was not enough to get any points out of the game.
Cesena and Juventus played out a 2-2 draw. Milan Juric and Franco Breedsner scored for Cesena, and Alvaro Morata and Claudio Marchisio scored for Juventus.
Moving on to La Liga. Almeria took on Real Sociedad in a 2-2 draw. Verzal and Tomo Hamed scoring the goals for Almeria, while Emmanuel Aguritex and Sergio Canals scoring for Real Sociedad.
Sevilla and Cordoba were to follow that game, with Gregors Krychowiak, Karl Backer and Vincent Iborra scoring the goals.
Real Madrid then took on Deportivo at the Bernabeu. The game ended 2-0 to Real Madrid, Isco and Karim Benzema scoring the goals.
Granada and Atletico Bilbao followed that game in a 0-0 draw.
Malaga then took on Espanyol coming out on top 2-0 with Alvaro Gonzalez Sabaron and Sergio Garcia scoring the goals.
Valencia and Getafe were the next game, with Valencia's on-loan striker Alvaro Negredo converting a penalty in the second half.
Barcelona then took on Levante at Camp Nou. Neymar opened the scoring in the 17th minute before Lionel Messi got a hat-trick, and then Luis Suarez finished the scoring in the 73rd in a 5-0 thrashing.
Rayo Vallecano and Villarreal followed that game, with Alberto Buno and Gael Kakuta scoring for Rayo Vallecano in a 2-0 win.
Celta Vigo then took on Atletico Madrid in an upset where Celta Vigo won 2-0. Nolito converted a penalty in the 59th, then Fabian Orellana scoring in the 71st.
On to the League One. Marseille host Stade Reims at the Stade Velodrome in a 2-2 draw. Dimitri Payet and Andre Ayew scored for Marseille, while Nicolas Depreville and David Ngog scored for Stade Reims.
Paris Saint-Germain then took on Caen at Parc des Princes. Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Ezequiel Lavezzi scored for PSG, while Emiliano Salah and Hervé Basile scored for Caen in a 2-2 draw.
Monaco-Montpellier was postponed.
Lille took on OGC Nice in a 0-0 draw.
Toulouse then played Rennes at the Stade Municipal. The game ended 2-1 in Toulouse's favour, with Oscar Trésor and Alexander Pesic scoring, while Ola Toivonen only got one goal for Rennes.
Lens then took on Evian. The game ended 2-0 to Evian. Mathieu Duhamel scored the 2 goals for Evian in the 19th and the 35th minute.
Nantes then played Bastia in also another 0-2 game. Giovanni Sio and Floyd Ayite scored for Bastia.
Bordeaux then took on Saint-Etienne in a 1-0 victory to Bordeaux. Diego Roland scored in the 42nd minute.
Met and Guingamp played in a 0-2 game. It was a win for Guingamp. Christophe Mandain and Jeremy Pide scored the goals.
Lorient then took on Lyon in a 1-1 game. Jordan Ayew scored the goal for Lorient, while Clinton Nije scored for Lyon. Moving on to the Bundesliga. Borussia Dortmund took on Mainz at Signal Iduna Park in a must-win game for Dortmund. The game ended 4-2 to Dortmund, with Neven Subotic, Marco Reus, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Nuri Sahin scoring for Dortmund, while Elkin Soto and Yunus Mali scoring for Mainz.
Bayern Munich and Hamburg SV played at Allianz Arena. The game ended in 8-0 to Bayern Munich. Thomas Müller scored 2 goals, including a penalty, before Mario Götze scored a double, Ian Robin scored a double, and Robert Lewandowski and Frank Ribery scored a goal each.
Hertha BSC then took on SC Freiburg, and the game ended 0-2 to SC Freiburg, with Felix Klaus and Maximilian Philipp scoring for Freiburg.
Mönchengladbach then took on Köln at Borussia Park. The game ended 1-0 with Granit Parker scoring in the 90th minute for Mönchengladbach.
Werder Bremen then took on FC Augsburg at Weser Stadium. The game ended 3-2 to Werder Bremen, with Asani Mikami Mulagoti, Franco Di Santo, Theodor Gredseli scoring for Werder Bremen, while Ragnar Klavan and Tobias Werner scoring for FC Augsburg.
Bayer Leverkusen and Wolfsburg played at the Bay Arena in a goal fest which ended 4-5 to Wolfsburg. Hong Min Son kicked a hat-trick, with Karim Belabi scoring the other goal for Leverkusen. Bas Dost scored an amazing 4 goals, with Naldo scoring the 5th for Wolfsburg.
Hoffenheim then took on VfB Stuttgart. The game ended 2-1, with Robert Frimo, Sebastian Rudi scoring for Hoffenheim, while Gotuko Sakai scoring the only goal for Stuttgart.
Eintracht then took on Schalke 04 at the Commerzbank Arena. The game ended 1-0 with Lucas Piazza scoring the 65th minute for Eintracht.
Hannover 96 then took on Paderborn at the HDI Arena. The game ended 1-2, with Paderborn coming out on top. Marcelo scored for Hannover, while Strange Lakik and Alban Meha scoring for Paderborn. Now we're going to discuss some of the league tables. We're going to start with the Premier League. And Riley, do you think Southampton can keep this top 4 run going?
To be honest, I think that with Arsenal, Tottenham and Liverpool, 3 big clubs below them, I think that they will drop out of the top 4, but Europa League is a fair result for them, I'd say.
What about Man United? They're only 1 point ahead of them.
Yeah, I reckon Man U are starting to play better as a team, and I think they will, get some more wins on the board and hold them off. What are your thoughts?
Oh, well, being a Man U supporter, I'm kind of biased. So I'm hoping that we can stay in, but I don't know, Arsenal and Tottenham have good form.
And what about the chase to, stay in the Premier League? You've got Leicester, Burnley and Aston Villa currently in the relegation zone, but QPR, Hull, Sunderland, even West Brom and Palace and Everton even, they're still not far away from the drop zone.
Yeah, the relegation zone is going to heat up soon because so many teams are around the low 20s in points. And I think with Aston Villa getting a new manager, it's going to take some time for them to settle in right now.
Yeah, exactly.
But I reckon that Leicester and Burnley are going to get the drop. But I don't know, maybe QPR may get the drop or Hull, even Everton. But I see Everton picking up in form.
Yeah, exactly. And what about some of these middle-ranked teams? I mean, you got like West Ham, Swansea, Stoke, and Newcastle. Do you reckon they will be able to maybe push past Liverpool or Tottenham in the near weeks?
Not really. Maybe Swansea, if they can, like Buffy Gomez can get into form, maybe they can push for Europa League. But I highly doubt it because losing Wilfred Boney wasn't a very good thing for them. Now they're spending the money on stadium.
Yeah, I guess that wasn't a very good deal by Swansea.
No.
Should we move on to the next league now?
Yep.
Now we're going to move on to the Serie A. In the top of the Serie A, we currently have Juventus with Roma, Napoli close behind. Only 3 teams can make the Champions League qualification, with Fiorentina and Lazio in 4th and 5th. Who do you think will make it?
Juventus is definitely a shoo-in, with like 7 points ahead of Roma. But personally, I don't see Fiorentina or Lazio moving up into the Champions League spot because there's a 4-point difference between 4th and 3rd, which is Napoli and Fiorentina. And Roma, with the new signings of Dumbia and Ababo, they're going to be a lot stronger now. So I see Roma and Napoli making Champions League.
Yeah, I agree. Also, in the middle of the table is Inter Milan and Milan. Are they usually that low?
Milan last year I think finished 10th or something, but Inter Milan are normally up higher. Two great legendary teams are kind of starting to drop now.
Do you think they'll push harder towards the top at the end of the season?
I don't really know. I mean, and Inter Milan have some new signings with like Shaqiri and Podolski, which is going to give Inter Milan some good depth. But we'll see how they go.
And at the bottom of the table is Parma, Cesena, Cagliari. Do you reckon those 3 teams are going to go down to the Serie B?
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't really know much about the Serie A, but Cagliari have lost to Barbo, which is one of their main strike force, to Roma. So I don't really think they could push forward, but you never know. You just never know.
Personally, I think Verona might drop down a few spots, and Chievo, not really. Don't have as many well-known players as, say, Parma and Cagliari.
Well, that's not always the key, is it?
Not always.
On to La Liga, and Riley, do you think Valencia could push up to overtake Atletico Madrid?
Well, I mean, Atletico lost this week, so I don't know. I reckon there might be a dip in form or on a bad streak, but I think Atletico have the quality players to hold on to that 3rd spot.
I mean, but Valencia got new signing in Enzo Perez, and he's been in great form recently.
Yeah, he has been. He has been. But I do think that Atletico just have more depth and more quality players, but I think that they're still too far off Barcelona and Real Madrid at the top of the table.
Yeah, what about Sevilla? Do you think that they could push up for Champions League?
I don't think Sevilla have the depth. They lost a few decent players at the start of this season, which has probably not helped them. But yeah, I think that maybe Europa League is what Sevilla's at quality-wise.
And what about the relegation drop? I mean, the bottom 4 teams all within 2 points of each other. Who's going to survive?
Yeah, I'm really not sure. I mean, Granada and Levante have been in the La Liga for a few seasons now, so I'd like to see them stay up, but maybe it's time for a fresh change of clubs in the La Liga. Time to see them drop down.
I really don't know because it's so close right now. You just can't tell.
What about, here we got Real Sociedad. They've got a new manager, starting to win some more games. They're in 12th. Do you think that they could go up any higher?
I really don't know. David Moyes is a manager. I'll just say that. But, you know, he normally does well at mid-table clubs like he did at Everton. So, you don't know. There's still plenty of time in the season. Maybe they could push for Europa League. Yeah. But I don't see him getting Champions League.
Yeah, of course. I just thought maybe 12th was a bit low for them, but...
Yeah, they could push up.
They've got Carlos Vela.
I mean, yeah, they have, to gain, 20 points for Europa, though. So that's going to be a big challenge, but I reckon they're up for it.
Alright. So, Matt, here we have the Ligue 1 table in front of us. How do you feel about it? I mean, the top 3 is...
I mean, Lyon being on top is not what everyone expected at all. I mean, but Lacazette's having such a great season.
Yeah,
they kind of deserve to be up there. And PSG being in third, the likes of Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Ezequiel Lavezzi.
Yeah, they should be higher, but, and David Luiz.
Well, Monaco, after finishing second last season, have dropped down to 5th. That's not even a Champions League spot anymore. That's Europa League qualification.
I don't even think that's Europa League in Liga. But, I mean, the loss of Falcao and James Rodriguez really killed all their hopes, and they're not using all that money wisely.
No, they're not. What about at the bottom? We've got Metz, Lens, and Evian in the bottom 3.
And then Toulouse.
Toulouse are only two points above the drop. Do you think that they will go down? They've got some good players.
Oh, yeah, they do have a few good players. But I don't really know. I kind of think that 2 points is enough for them to really keep fighting.
Yeah. What about in the middle of the table? I mean, Lille are a pretty big name club. Well, not as big as PSG and Lyon, say, but they're more well known than some of the clubs above them. What do you think's wrong with their season?
I really don't know. Honestly. I just don't know.
Yeah, well...
But the Ligue 1 is very interesting this year because PSG normally dominate the league, but now it's close up top.
It's good to see a change. It is
good to see a change. Now into the Bundesliga, and Bayern Munich are storming ahead as normal, but Wolfsburg are kind of clearing a gap between the rest of the teams in second. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, without Dortmund there, it's kind of opened up the race for Wolfsburg and Mönchengladbach and Schalke to potentially make the Champions League, which in the recent years is just unheard of.
Yeah, I mean, with Dortmund down in 15th spot, facing relegation, they have some really big players, and with Marco Reus just signing on, you wouldn't expect a big player like that to be happy in the Bundesliga too.
Yeah, I mean, Dortmund that low, they have to do something right now to push themselves into the top half of the ladder if they want to keep their manager and keep their star players.
I really think right now Dortmund is just a fight against relegation. They shouldn't be looking for Europa because that's way too far ahead of them. They just need to stay in the league and rebuild for next year.
They had a win this weekend, and it was their second win in a row, and that has happened very rarely this year. Do you think this is the turning point and they'll start winning some games?
I don't know. I mean, poor form like that is just... with a big club like Dortmund, who have, competed against teams like Real Madrid, they really shouldn't be down that low in the Bundesliga. I mean, it's not the best league. They do have some pretty quality teams up top, though. So, I mean, it's definitely a surprise for them being down so low, but I reckon just fight against relegation. I think their form may change a bit, but it's not going to do anything for next season.
Yeah.
that's enough with the leagues for now. Now let's go on to the Champions League, which is coming up this week. And who do you think's going to progress, Riley?
Well, there's some interesting games starting off tomorrow with Shakhtar Donetsk, Bayern Munich, and PSG Chelsea. What are your predictions?
Oh, I reckon Bayern Munich are going to win the game. I mean, it's an away game for them, so they're going to get some away goals and probably advance because, they're just such a quality team. So many quality players. And the PSG Chelsea one, I really don't know. Honestly, just two even match teams. But Chelsea have been going really good this year, so I wouldn't be surprised if they advance.
Yeah, they've played each other a few times in the Champions League, and I think PSG come on top most of the time, but
Chelsea won last year, didn't they?
I don't know, maybe.
I'm pretty sure Chelsea won last year in a quarterfinal, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was a close game, though.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing. I'll say... Actually, you know what? I'm going to go with Bayern Munich to beat Shakhtar Donetsk, and I think PSG will get over the line against Chelsea.
And with the games on Wednesday, there's FC Basel and Porto. That's going to be a close game. And it's not two big teams, but they're two even teams.
Yeah, exactly. I think Porto have a better squad and are in a more difficult league than Basel.
But Basel have been dominating, I'm pretty sure. Haven't really checked. But they're a good team. Good team. So it's going to be a good match, that one.
My money's on Porto. And I'm also thinking Real Madrid will get the better of Schalke. Schalke just don't have enough quality players to match Real Madrid.
Yeah, they versed each other a few times in the round of 16, and I'm pretty sure Real Madrid won last year and the year before as well. Mm-hmm. But I'm pretty sure it's been close games between them two.
The rest of the Champions League's on the following week, so we'll discuss that in next week's episode then.
Yep. Okay, now we're going to talk about some of the FIFA 15 winter upgrades that just came out yesterday. And, I mean, the biggest name players are Neymar, Aguero, Götze, Boateng, Costa, Sanchez. I mean, they're all quality players getting upgraded, and I think they all deserve to be.
Yeah, I mean, these players will be in teams in the next 2 days.
And they'll be
Everyone
expensive,
wants
though.
to use
They'll
them.
be so expensive right now.
Yeah, but people will just buy coins just so they can use them. I mean, who doesn't want to use Neymar upgraded?
Yeah. I mean, and for the people that don't have as much money, it's good news because their normal cards are going to drop down and they'll finally be able to use some players like Neymar and Aguero. Some of the middle tier players are like Matic, Lucas, De Bruyne, Pogba.
Carlos Vela. Yeah, I think these players will be used just as frequently as the players who are much better and much more expensive because
they're cheaper and more affordable.
They have good stats.
Yeah.
And I also say that there's lots of goalkeepers getting upgrades. I mean, you've got De Gea going up 2 overall. His stats are significantly better. You've got Handanovic, Rufia, and Buffon also, and Joe Hart, sorry. And these are just like in the top 10 or 20 players getting upgrades. These players are used frequently in FIFA, and they're gonna be just so
Yeah,
good.
the keepers are pretty poor in this game, so it's good they're getting upgraded. And some other upgrades that are pretty interesting is Otamendi. He's got a +5 pace upgrade, so now he's got like from 66 pace to 71 pace, so he's going to get used a lot more in La Liga teams. And then there's others like Nane Golan, who's like one of my favourite players, who's also got an upgrade.
Yeah, I see that there's some speedy centre backs now with Koscielny getting an upgrade in pace, Naldo's pace is going up. We got some players, well, one player actually, who's moved from a non-rare to a rare.
Oh, no, Danilo as well.
Oh, 2, is there?
Yeah, Danilo moved.
Apparently third person.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then there's some people who've moved from silver to gold, and that's like Bolasi.
Harry Kane.
Harry Kane, yeah.
9 overall upgrade. That's amazing.
Yeah, Ferreira Carrasco.
At Monaco.
Yeah, Monaco. He looks like a pretty good player. And then there's some sweaty players like Martins and Barbo who got upgraded. Like, why EA?
I know, it's just not fair.
Like, I mean, Barbo's pace hasn't been upgraded, nor has Martins, but they're still, the other stats have, which is just killing me.
I mean, Barbo can actually shoot half decently now. That's decent. I had him in my team, and he's a shocking shot.
Yeah, and then there's this Vieto. He was such a great silver, and now he's a gold. His silver's going to skyrocket in price.
If you have Vieto in your team, I suggest you hold on to him for a while before you sell him because...
Yeah, and then the other big one is Bernat. He's gone from 71 to 76 and is now going to be a cheap replacement when his price lowers down for Alaba because Alaba's at a ridiculously overpriced. Actually, I don't really think he's overpriced. It's just that he's super expensive.
I just had Nathaniel Klein's silver rare card in my team, and he's moved to a gold, so I'm assuming we'll see him in more and more Premier League squads throughout the season.
Yeah, and I mean, who do you think are some undeserved upgrades? Like, I really don't see why Lovren got upgraded.
Or
Like,
Adam Lallana, like they haven't had standout seasons.
they really haven't had standout seasons. Liverpool in general
And
haven't.
what's with Emre Can going from a silver centre mid to a gold centre back?
I mean, he's been playing centre back, but I don't really think he's been playing that good to get an upgrade.
Yeah.
To go from silver to gold.
It's strange.
And he's not going to be used much at all. And then another key silver to gold upgrade is Williams, the hyperlink with Depay, and he's now
Depay also got an upgrade.
Yeah, he has. He's now so good. Like, he's gold, and he's got like 82 pace, 72 defense, and 76 physical.
We were talking to our friend about him today, and he said he started lying on the ground, almost crying, because he has Willems and he's about to lose 40k. And although it's not much, it's enough to cry over.
And then some of the in-form upgrades are pretty amazing as well. Like, we go to some like Neymar, who's now
89.
89. And then there's second in-form Lacazette, just an amazing looking card. Like,
De Gea, 87
amazing.
Overall.
Yeah, I know.
Kostas, Sanchez.
Sanchez, like, his cam card's going to be really expensive now.
These are some amazing upgrades.
And then all those people who invested in like Lacazette and stuff, they're going to get their money because his second in form now has some amazing stats, like 90 pace, 88 dribbling, 88 shooting, 79 physical. Just a great card in general.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to using some of these players.
Yeah.
Should we move on now to the next topic?
Yeah, I think so.
Alright.
Now we're going to start talking about some of the transfers and how they've settled into their new clubs and what controversy they've made in their other clubs, old clubs, like Boney going to Man City.
Well, yeah, Boney to Man City, that was a big deal because, I mean, Swansea have not really used their money from Boney's transfer.
Oh, yeah, they didn't get time. They didn't get time to use it in the transfer window. But I mean, they're still discussing what they're going to do with it because apparently they want to build up their stadium for more fans.
I think that it would be smarter to just buy a good, solid player, not spread the cash in by like 4 or 5 mil signings. I'd much rather see a 20 mil signing.
They did sign a couple of other players. I can't remember them off the top of my head. But I mean, Bafi Gomez is now their star striker, and he has not been performing at all, and he's not been enjoying his time at Swansea.
Yeah, another big name deal was the Torres move. So it was. He left. He was on loan at
Athletic.
I know. No, he was on loan in
AC
Italy,
Milan.
at AC Milan. Yep, and he's now joined AC Milan permanently, and he's on an 18-month loan at Atletico Madrid, and that's a big deal because he really had to get out of England.
Yeah, and now he's moved into the La Liga, where he seems to have been fitting in pretty nicely.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 2 goals back on debut at Atletico, his boyhood club.
And Inter Milan quite active, signing Shaqiri and Podolski. They haven't had the best of seasons, so that's pretty good for them.
Yeah, Shaqiri was a bench warmer at Bayern. They just had too many talented players. And Podolski,
with Robin.
Podolski's just he's getting on in his career. He's pretty old and he needed a fresh start. Yeah,
I reckon it's a good move for both of them. And then Doumbia, late in the transfer window, he moved to Roma. I mean, he's a great player in real life, and even better on FIFA. And
him and Ababo, they were two
big
important moves to Roma. That could Roma get them Champions League.
Yeah, because Roma kind of fighting with other teams, which I can't remember off the top of my head.
The MLS had some big name moves. David Villa moved
coming
permanently.
Back from Melbourne City.
And Lampard extended his loan at City, which I'm pretty sure the fans in New York wouldn't be too happy about. I'm pretty sure they were looking forward to seeing him play for them. And Jermaine Defoe.
Yeah, Jermaine Defoe going to Sunderland.
He's made an impact there.
Yeah. I mean, and then another thing about the Boney transfer, just remembering that Jovetic is now pissed because he wants to play the Champions League.
Jovetic, he wants games, and Boney coming in, that Jovetic was taken out of the Champions League side, and he's not happy with that because the reason he moved to City was because he wanted to play Champions League football, and he's not going to now, so sucks for him.
Yeah, and that's some of the transfers and how they've been settling into their club. Now we are going to discuss some transfer news. The first piece of news is Romeo Lukaku to Wolfsburg. German side interested in signing the Belgian striker after he says he wants to play for a top club. prompting calls he is unhappy at Everton. Wolfsburg have a history of signing Chelsea rejects such as Kevin De Bruyne and Andre Schürrle as they look to further improve their attack.
The second piece of news is Santi Cazorla is linked with Atletico Madrid. Arsenal rocked as reports emerged that the Spanish midfielder has agreed on personal terms to a move to the Spanish club. Santi has been in great form for his club recently, prompting interest from Barcelona, although Atletico have won the battle to bring him home.
Now we got Marco Reus, and he has extended his contract till 2019 at Borussia Dortmund. German winger extends his Dortmund contract, signing on until 2019. The star has been linked with moves all over Europe, but this contract takes away his release clause.
The fourth bit of news is Axel Witsel linked with Juventus. Juventus are in talks with the Zenit St. Petersburg midfielder as they prepare to lose Paul Pogba. The Belgian midfielder has said he has always dreamed to play at one of Europe's top clubs and may be set for a move to Italy.
And our final piece of news is Eden Hazard staying at Chelsea. Belgian star pens a new 5.5-year deal worth $57 million. The winger will probably earn £200,000 a week for the next 5.5 years. This comes as the second transfer blow for Real Madrid in a matter of days, as fellow target Marco Reus has planned a new contract. That's it for transfer news. Now on to goals of the week. Starting off with number 5 with Sergio Aguero with a lovely bit of solo work against Stoke City. Now moving on to number 4, we have Danny Ings with a lovely diving header against Manchester United. Then coming in number 3, Saido Berahino with a lovely strike against Swansea. Number 2, we have Willian versus Everton in a match-winning half volley from a long distance out. Won Chelsea the game. And in number 1, we have Bobby Zamora versus Sunderland with a lovely strike.
Okay, so the saves of the week are up next. In our 5th best Premier League save of the week was Simon Mignolet for his save against Tottenham. In 4th is Tim Krul for a close-up save against Crystal Palace following a corner. The 3rd best save of the week was Petr Cech against Everton. This was a clutch save on a 1-on-1 chance, and it was a double save as well. The 2nd best save of the week in the Premier League is Alan McGregor from Hull City against Aston Villa. A great double save again. And a save of the week from QPR against Sunderland, Rob Green for a stunning diving save. And that was spectacular. Okay, so between the two of us, we've come up with our team of the week. These players we think were the best players across the world, and we've got it in a 3-4-1-2 formation. Would you like to discuss our keeper choice?
We chose Casilla from Espanyol. He had a great game. He saved the penalty and he kept the clean sheet against
Malaga.
Who was it? Yeah, Malaga. Yeah, in a 2-0 victory for Espanyol.
The defence is our only 2 Premier League players are in the defence, and it's Chris Smalling coming off the bench in the 4th minute for an injured Phil Jones.
Yeah, and then scoring in the 6th and the 45th.
Yep, two goals.
Yep.
For a defender, that's like unheard of.
He's probably, I think he was best player of the PPL this week.
He was BPL player of the week.
Yep.
Koscielny and Subotic are our other defenders.
Koscielny scored a goal for Arsenal.
And Subotic scored the first goal for Dortmund.
Dortmund in the point in to win.
Yep. Would you like to discuss our midfield?
Well, we're going to start with Joseph King. Josh King, is it?
Yeah, Josh King.
Oh, okay. He plays for Blackburn Rovers, and they advanced in the FA Cup.
Yeah, beat Stoke 4-1. He scored 3 of those goals. So.
Yeah, definitely deserves a spot there. And now we're going to go to Goethe,
who,
in a thrashing that Bayern did on Hamburg. He was one of their best players, if not their best player, and definitely deserves a spot because he got 2 goals and an assist in a great game for Bayern.
Yeah. Freddie Guarin, 2 important goals for Inter.
Yeah, they've been struggling, so that's a good win for them this year.
Pretty sure they scored. Pretty sure they won.
They won 4-1.
4-1.
Yep.
Good. And Hong-Min Son, who's back from a
Asian
Cup. He played well in the Asian Cup, so good to see him translating that form for his club.
Yeah. I mean, his team lost, but he still got a hat-trick, so that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, exactly. And
I mean, yeah, he's pretty controversial in this team of the week, but he played left wing, so...
Yeah.
Actually, he played left wing.
3 goals in the left wing. And in that game, he was playing up against Wolfsburg, and Bas Dost kicked 4 goals for Wolfsburg, so it's not a surprise to see him.
To score 4 goals, you have to be having a great game in your serving form. Definitely deserves a spot.
Yeah. Our cam choice, would you like to talk about that?
Lionel Messi scoring 3 goals.
Yeah.
In 5-0 thrashing.
Yeah, deserved the spot. Including the penalty, one of those goals was.
Yeah.
And then Luke de Jong, hat trick.
Yeah, hat trick. That deserves a spot in my books.
Yeah. Alright,